A grim tale of two siblings that have seemingly lost everything. A Plague Tale: Innocence takes you on a dark and tragic adventure through one of the most horrid periods of history. It's the 14th century in the middle of France as the Black Plague slowly starts to rise all around the countryside. People are scared, terrified of the swarms of rats carrying the Black Death. As the body count grows, the Inquisition grows fearful of the disease, wiping out any signs of it in the area. As they start to invade the countryside, our protagonist Amicia and her brother Hugo run away from their home. With the plague infecting everyone and the Inquisition steady on their trail, the two siblings work together to survive in a world that's slowly falling apart. It's not just a story of survival, but one of self-discovery as well. These two are siblings but in reality have hardly known each other. Hugo, who was born with an illness, had been quarantined from his sister for almost his whole life. These two, who are practically strangers, are now all they have. Amicia, on the other hand, is a spunky adventure girl who up until now didn't really have a lot to worry about. She enjoyed spending time with her father and dog while her mother took care of her brother. Hugo, on the other hand, has essentially lived inside his room most of his life. He's been kept away from not only society but his own sister too. You see the juxtaposition evolve as the two are put in these life and death situations coming from different backgrounds. It's a captivating narrative that drives the more simple-ended gameplay forward for a total of 10 to 12 hours. 14th century France is a withered wasteland filled with Inquisition soldiers trying to kill you, and rat swarms carrying the plague. No matter where you hide, death is surely nearby. That doesn't leave our pair of protagonists with a lot at their disposal, and that's reflected in the gameplay. A Plague Tale focuses primarily on stealth and puzzle solving over something more action oriented. As the Inquisition looks for you, you'll hide in bushes, throw rocks as a distraction, and run away as a last resort. These scenarios are fairly easy with forgiving AI that quickly forgets your location as you find a hiding spot. This trend continues on through the early introduction of A Plague Tale until it starts to incorporate more complex mechanics. Calling these mechanics complex is a bit of an overstatement though. When the swarms of rats begin to tail you down, you'll find that the only way to escape their fury is with sources of light. Thus, you'll find yourself lighting torches and using the new crafting system to make sources of fire. The entire process is a linear setup that isn't that hard to solve. On occasion, I wouldn't get the pattern that I was supposed to see, and so I died just to get a line repeated at me, instantly helping me figure out the puzzle. In later sections of the game, you're able to separate from your brother, letting him solve one puzzle mechanic while you work on another. These were the most interesting sections for me. It introduced a bit of anarchy that was trying to solve two puzzles at once while also trying to make sure that neither one of us were getting caught. A Plague Tale does introduce a bit of action from time to time once you're able to craft more items. The use of alchemy can help you take down foes that seem invincible for the longest time as they stalk you down the long corridors. These moments aren't at the forefront though, and are instead rather sprinkled over the gameplay. The overall experience is more slow and relaxing, focusing more on storytelling. This might be Europe during the Black Plague, but the environment here somehow still manages to look exquisite. Before all hell breaks loose, France was a beautiful countryside filled with farms and apple trees fresh for the picking. The color palette here is bright, vibrant, and saturated. It exudes the warm ember colors of an alluring day. That's then contrasted by the dark and gloomy aftermath of the plague. Swarms of rats erupt from the ground like a swarm of Heartless out of Kingdom Hearts 3. The rendering effect here is impressive and disgusting at the same time. Whether Plague Tale is trying to impress or disgust you, it manages to nail it every time. The same can be said about the animations for the characters, most of the time. In cutscenes, characters look good, capturing the emotions that are constantly on display. There were a few moments where sometimes the animations could look a bit off when in actual gameplay, but those were far and few in between. As for performance, the base Xbox One gives you 900p resolution, while the base PS4 bumps that up to a native 1080p. On the enhanced consoles, a dynamic resolution is used between the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. PS4 Pro was on the lower side though, ranging between 1080p and 1440p, while the Xbox One X averaged around between 1800p and 2160p. Frame rates across the board are locked at 30 frames per second. Through its use of heavy string focused tracks, A Plague Tale delivers an assortment of different melancholy tracks that drive home the feeling of anguish and desperation. This is a world that's been completely torn apart. Death lingers in every corner of the environment, and its presence is only further elevated by the music. That's not to overshadow the stellar voice work here. The character's sense of despair and urgency is written and delivered incredibly well by the two child actors. I can understand Amicia's frustration with her younger brother that's always making mistakes while they're trying to survive. However, I can also understand the fear and heartache that Hugo must be going through just being thrust into this world he's never really experienced, not even accounting for the effects that the plague has had on him. A Plague Tale: Innocence is an enthralling story, one about one of the worst periods in human history. Experiencing it through this vignette with a bit of added fantasy was one hell of a game. Admittedly, its gameplay is a bit on the slower, simple side, focusing more on narrative than challenging puzzles. However, with this story backing it up, it managed to keep me invested well throughout its 17 chapters.